Smash. Puny humans.
Welcome back to Figure Depot. Today we're taking a look at Hulk. So, birthday present to me. Thank you so much. You know who you are. Blown away. So stoked. This was a figure I thought was going to come and go. And I was going to be sad for not having it. But I have been blessed with it. And we shall review it. Nice size package. Bigger than what we got with, say, like the Red Hulk. That is clearly to make room for the additional heads and the extra accessories. This is the second release in the Maximum series from Marvel Legends. First being Spider-Man, of course. I do not have that figure. Probably will not get that figure. Kind of dialed my collecting way back lately, so this is just a special treat. So y'all enjoy. You can see all of the cool stuff he comes with displayed in the box. I don't have to explain it to you. I do like the comic print here. There is a very subtle comic print on the white background, just really washed out. We do get Maximum series on the top. We do get a product shot of Hulk jumping, ripping the rocket, missile, whatever you want to call it, apart. Then on the back we have the Thunderclap feature. So you can see that looks really cool. I have heard a lot of people are having trouble getting that thing set up, so I will try my hand at it and see how it goes. We get another product shot, Hulk jumping on the back there, and legalese and barcodes at the bottom. I don't know if this barcode will do you any good, but if this helps, there it is. Tray number 1 features the Hulk, the head sculpts, the clap effect for the Thunderclap, and the broken in half missile. Tray number 2 includes the hands and the swoosh effects. Alright, here he is out of the package. Holy Toledo, this thing looks so awesome. Love the green that they went with. This is the green I've been wanting on a Hulk since the beginning of Hasbro taking over the Marvel Legends line. And the one we got with Marvel Select from Diamond Select Toys is definitely been my favorite to this point. And it's really the most premium paint. The way they feathered in the lighter and darker colors of his different greens is beautiful and unmatched. This one doesn't quite get there, but the shade of green they went with here is definitely my favorite. That kind of electric lime green, just absolutely awesome. So from the factory, he had a little tab where they pulled him out of the mold and didn't cut it clean. So I had to get an X-Acto blade and trim that off. And then I noticed a big split was running right up the middle. So I took some super glue, glued that split together so it didn't run. And yeah, so I've already had to fix this figure straight out of the package. So not a good start, but here we are. Pluses for me, just kind of right out the gate. The color, beautiful, love it. The addition of the Thunderclap hands with the swoosh effects and the Thunderclap effect, I really like all of that. That's going to look really cool together, and I'll show y'all that here in a second. The rocket's cool. It's kind of take it or leave it, but it's not a bad effect. You know, it's not something I'm like, why'd they put that in there? What I will say, and I do like the concept here. I have Storm Collectibles figures, and you know, they've got some squishy-ish components. It feels like a slightly different material than Storm Collectibles uses, though, to me. This is a lot, it's a little more pliable. It's not a lot more pliable. But you can definitely tell there is a difference. But it's similar. Negatives, there is no reason why they shouldn't have included this. That came with this Hulk. Like, that should have come with this. This is an Ultimate Edition. So, Ultimate Spidey, bukus of accessories, completely new tooling. This is 70% reuse, with just some minor upgrades. You have newly sculpted shoulders, which do look better. You have the newly sculpted chest with slightly larger traps, which I really do love the new sculpt. You, of course, get your toe hinges. And this abdominal piece, I was looking at this Gray Hulk, and it's not this sculpt, and it's not this one. So I guess this is a new abdomen as well. Seems a little bit more narrow than what we had before, so I do like that. Ideally, and we'll get to this in the articulation section, I think it would have been great if they had brought his waist in again just a little bit more, give us that nice V taper, increase the thickness front to back of the chest and the abdomen, and then, you know, either done a reverse crunch down here, kind of like they did with Venom. So on Venom, you have this reverse crunch for him to crunch over, and then he swivels here at the top and tilts and does all that. That's the articulation setup that I really wish we had seen with this figure. I think that would have really put it over the top. You know, everyone's talking about, oh, he's not pinless. This figure is essentially pinless already when we first got it, except for here. They hide this pin with this over cap here, and then you got this one tiny little pin. Everything else, there's not a pin in sight, so that doesn't bother me, that aspect. But yeah, definitely when you do this, you should not see this massive gap here. That's problematic to me. For an Ultimate figure, for the price point these things are going at, which I would not have purchased this if it was not a birthday present. For me, I would not have purchased it on my own. So the only reason I have this is because it was gifted to me for my birthday. I would not pay what this thing retails for. It's not worth it. So this Hulk here came with just about the same amount of accessories and was like $45. This Hulk is $60 retail, and like GameStop's got it with a $30 upcharge. Insane. GameStop's selling this thing for $88 something, so almost $90. I don't know what Entertainment Earth and some of the other outlets have him priced at. I'm not sure what Big Bad Toy Store has him priced at. I wasn't checking prices because I wasn't going to be able to get him. So, but the only one I knew about was Amazon. I was on Amazon looking at something, or no, I was scrolling Instagram, and Amazon posted a link for the figure, and I went to check it out, and it was $59.99. So if you got Prime, that's free shipping. So you're basically just going to pay $60 for him through Amazon. But anyway, yeah, enough about that. Let's take a closer look at some of the accessories. All right, so we get the rocket, which is sculpted really well, but there's no paint on it. Some little decals on here would have been cool. So just a wash to bring out some of the sculpted details would have been great. I do like the flame effect. That's nice. It ports in and out. It's a nice soft plastic, not going to break on you. You get to pull it apart so he can hold it apart and roar when they shoot it at him. Reminds me a lot of in the Ang Lee film from, I think it was 2003. That Hulk was a nice bright green like this. It would be great to get a set of movie heads with a Hulk figure, wouldn't it? Edward Norton Hulk head, Ang Lee Hulk head. Let's throw in a Lou Ferrigno Hulk head. Wouldn't that be sick? So, come on, Hasbro, hook us up. But yeah, it reminds me of that scene where he's running through the desert around Utah or Arizona, and they shoot a rocket at him, and he catches it and bites the tip of it off and spits it back at the helicopter. So that's kind of fun little throwback there. We got this blast effect, which is painted on one side, and you just see the yellow through the other side because it's translucent. That's your clap effect for his fingertips. Then we got a couple of these swooshes. So this is nice. It's nice translucent plastic again, and then you've got this yellowish green sort of gamma splash as it's coming around. So those are fun. Fist hands, we have seen these before. This is nothing new. Same Hulk fists that we've gotten before. I'm going to paint the fingernails on all these different hands. The new hands are the slapping hands here, so those look really nice, really well done. Sculpt work is good. Not just a ton of paint on there, but what is there is done well and looks nice. And then the heads, I guess we'll look at. So this head, the only artist that I knew from these comic heads was Ed McGuinness. I think this is Diodato, and I think this one least faithfully translates from the source material. I think it's the least like what it's supposed to be representing. You look at his artwork, which I've glanced at briefly, and this is kind of close, but not quite there. What it does remind me of is the head that came with the Marvel Select Hulk. So the Marvel Select Hulk, if you recall, it had this awesome head, but then it had like a half this head and then half robot. So if you want to do a head swap, and let's see if we can do this on camera. Ugh. The balls might be different size. I think so. So let's just, yeah. Ah! But anyway, that looks good. So if you want to put him on your Select Hulk and get a complete head from what they gave us on that one, that's an option. But it's done really well in terms of the paint application. What I don't love is just how huge. I just don't like this portrait and this style. It's just not my thing. So it's done well. The wash in the hair, green and black, all that looks nice. You know, quality is there, but it's just not stylistically something that I like. What I really love is this sculpt right here. So the Ed McGuinness head sculpt to me is just awesome. I love that growling, snarling head. I think it looks fantastic. The wash in the hair is really well done. It looks like he's running, chasing somebody, so his hair is blowing in the wind behind him, or from the Thunderclap blasting his hair back. The teeth look awesome. I've seen some of them are like really rough looking. Mine turned out okay. I might take a paintbrush and get down in there and just kind of separate it out a little bit more. But overall, I think mine is a pretty good paint job on mine. This is definitely the head that I'm going to be using. And then on the figure, we have gripping hands, which we had gripping hands before with the other Hulk. I think they were both more similar to this one. Kind of just a mostly relaxed grip. This one seems a bit tighter. And as you'll see in a little bit, that's for holding that rocket accessory a little more snugly. Yeah. All right, and then the last head. I can't remember the guy's name. It's not an artist that I was familiar with before they announced these were coming out. The only difference in these and the others is the others come with some nice green irises and black pupils and red bloodshot whites of their eyes. This one is just a solid white eyeballs, and the paintwork on this one is really clean around the mouth and the hair and everything. These are all very well executed. It's just not a look for Hulk that I particularly care for. I enjoy a classic Hulk, kind of like we got on the 80th anniversary, and I enjoy the McGuinness look. Those are probably two of my favorite looks for Hulk. I did like the Mortal Hulk run, some of the artwork in that. I like the way he's depicted. It looks pretty cool. But just that classic kind of late 80s, mid to late 80s Hulk is kind of my jam. Face-off Hulk head. I would love to get a Face-off Hulk head and repaint it and throw it on this guy. I think that would be a really nice look. Last thing I guess I'll say about accessories, really a shame it didn't come with this. I'm just glad that I have this Hulk, and I'm a huge Hulk fan. I've got statues and figures from, 3-inch on up to, Diamond Select there, which is one of the biggest, aside from the Ang Lee 12-inch, or they're like 13-inch Hulk figures that came out with that movie. I got a couple of those in the 2 different styles that they released, which I love those things. But yeah, aside from that, yeah, like I love Hulk, and She-Hulk came out in 1980. I was born in 1980, so I love She-Hulk, especially the earlier stuff. Not wild about some of the newer stuff, but yeah. All right, so there he is doing the Thunderclap. Hasbro, I hate you. This is the most difficult, senseless thing. So here's kind of what I did. I rested the crest of this slap across his thumbs and kind of cradled the ridge coming around to his fingertips to hold the bottom of it, just to kind of let it prop on there. There is really no good way to do this, but if there is a good way, this is the best I know how. It's very easy to fall out. I understand why this is very frustrating. This doesn't make any sense. They need to go back to the drawing board with this thing. The wind blows, the air conditioner turns on, somebody farts on the other side of the room, that's gonna fall. And yeah, that's aggravating and unnecessary, especially for, again, an Ultimate figure that costs as much as this does. They should have worked all that out. This should have had a peg on it. It shouldn't have an empty circle in the middle. It should have been solid, like a solid disc of just translucent plastic with a peg on it, and then a peg going into the palm of one of the hands to hold it there. That would have solved all the problems and been a much better solution than what they did. Pretty sure a lot of people are just going to be using this without that middle piece, and that's kind of what that's going to look like. Now, here is a way to use this effect in some action figure photography, or even a display if you like. You can just use it as a punch effect, that kind of looks cool. Don't mind that so much. I think it looks pretty decent. Alright, so again, given that this is 70% reuse, you kind of know what you're looking at here. Looking at some comparisons real quick, we do have the Pickle Lips Hulk, and we have the 80th anniversary Hulk. So you can see they kind of took some cues from both figures. We've got a lighter green even than this here, and then we've got that kind of more reddish purple pant, but a shade or two brighter. This Hulk had no paint work on his pants. This one did. The shirt hanging down from the top of his pants, and then some rips in his jeans there. They did carry that over to this figure, although they did not finish painting it on the back. We'll look at that here in a little bit when we look at the figure up close. But yeah, just lazy stuff. For a premium, maximum, super duper awesome figure, we don't get a complete paint job. Got a bunch of the same parts. It's just leaving a lot to be desired. So here's a little side-by-side of the 80th and this one. They're very similar, but I do like his traps on the new one are actually shaped like traps. This sculpt was kind of soft on the shoulders. This has more shape to it. The new chest sculpt is fuller, thicker. It does look good. Abdominals. At first I didn't think, big deal, but now looking at them again, I do like the shape of them. This head sculpt was great for its time, but this is definitely an improvement in quality. Whether you like the style or not, It's definitely a step up in quality. You know, it's nice that they went in there and painted the pants, at least on the front side. I'm going to go back and paint the back, so. Don't like the toe hinge. I would have preferred just more foots like this. So, but whatever. I'll find some use for them or I'll glue them shut. Yet to be determined. So these are now my two favorite Hulks in my collection. I just love this thing. It is a work of art. That matte finish is real premium. It's really well done. Nice big feet for supporting his weight. The color greens are very similar. You just got a little bit more yellow on this one, and you got a little bit more green on this one, but they're very close to the same shade. Just how the paint's applied is a little different. Old Pickle Lips feels wider. I think it's because the new shoulders are a really good upgrade here. It's a lot more smooth transition down the shoulder to the arm. These were just big old balls sticking out the side of his upper torso. So, yeah, that's why he just looks wider and more hulking. See what I did there? But that definitely looks better. For some Diamond Select comparisons, we have the Immortal Hulk, and we have this awesome Rhino figure. This is my favorite Rhino figure, also by Marvel Select, Diamond Select Toys. Rest in peace, you wonderful, beautiful company, you. Yeah, the paintwork on that Rhino is magnificent. The sculpt is magnificent. Articulation is really good for as limited as it is. You can do a lot with it. Yeah, gonna miss that company. All right, here he is with Thunderbolt Ross, the Red Hulk, and then, of course, Gray Hulk. Love this head sculpt. We should have gotten this head sculpt also in addition to the other ones we got. That might have gone a little bit farther in justifying what they're asking for this thing at retail. This head sculpt painted green would have looked really cool. Yeah. Here we have the Maestro Hulk and the Face-Off Hulk from Toy Biz. You beautiful creature, you. Yeah, love that head sculpt. Probably my favorite Hulk head sculpt ever in this scale. This being the second, and the 80th anniversary Hulk being the third. Alright, and here we have the Studio Series Hulk from the first Avengers movie. Fun figure, great head sculpt for its time. I mean, that was like kind of cutting edge, just getting going with cinematic universe. And it looks good. It definitely resembles that Hulk, and Mark Ruffalo, you know, they did a good job on it. Then we have a custom from ITZ Vintage on Instagram. This is my Lou Ferrigno Hulk. Love this thing. It's on a Venom body, the movie Venom figure, with some additional sculpt work to make him more Ferrigno-y in the chesticles. Just for fun and because why not, there he is with a DC figure. This is a Collect and Connect King Shark. Beautiful figure. Love this thing. One of my grail pieces. Here he is with some Marvel Build-A-Figures. We got the Ursa Major and the Man-Thing, which I love this figure. Another grail in my collection. I still enjoy watching the Hulk cartoon from the 90s. It's very nostalgic for me. Sasquatch episode's one of my favorites. And then you got Venom over here, whose articulation setup I think would have been really good to blend in with this figure. As I mentioned earlier, that lower ab crunch instead of that ghastly waist split would have been a nice upgrade. Just bring in the hips and the obliques, thicken up the abdominal wall, and round out that upper torso just a little bit, and you'd have had a really good thing going. A couple more big boys. We got Thing from Fantastic Four. Love this figure. Love the paint on this figure. It's my favorite one they've got, I think. Maybe the classic one that was from Walgreens, but I almost lean more towards this one. And then, of course, Kingpin. That's a really nice figure. For a standard size Marvel Legend, you can see Captain America there. That's Secret Wars Cap. But I gave him a different shield, and I did a head swap and put that older head swap on there. I prefer it to the other one for some reason. I don't know if it's nostalgia or what's not necessarily better. I just think I like the overall design and shape of it maybe a little more for whatever reason. And then, of course, we got a standard size female figure there. Agent Peggy Carter as Captain Britain. Then we got my two favorite little fun-size pocket Hulks that I like. So those look really great. That Marvel Universe line was a lot of fun. I didn't like the figures being that small. So I'm glad we got away from that and back up to the 1/12 scale. But there were some pretty cool ones to come through that line, this being chief among them. And as I mentioned early, massive She-Hulk fan. I love this She-Hulk. I'm so glad we got it. It's that sensational She-Hulk look from John Byrne's run. Really, really nice. Then we got this one, which is just a good, generic She-Hulk. I like the head sculpts on those. They're really nice. The tattered pants is cool. Tattered shirt. All that's just a great design. Looks really good. I love that we get this more classic, more faithful to the comics version. I definitely like it better, but I didn't mind this one at all. It was really good. I'd kind of like to see this reissued in maybe this color green, and I'd like to see this reissued in this color green. Both of those would have a nice little glow up if that happened. Here he is with one of the OG She-Hulks. Not the first one, but one of the earlier ones. I want to say that was Blob Build-A-Figure Wave. I can't remember. It's been so long ago. And then, of course, we've got our She-Hulk series, She-Hulk. Interesting figure. Like the leg sculpt. I don't like how they kind of switched from a more natural-looking joint over to this real, like, deep-cut, robotic kind of looking joint. I'm not as big a fan of those joints, but yeah, it's the technology is good in terms of posing, and it's great that she's double jointed. I just don't like those real harsh cuts. I'd like a more smoother, more natural looking joint there. Gray She-Hulk, and then we have the A-Force multi-pack She-Hulk, which I would love to see them redo this one. Those miniature arms that were the same size arms as would come on a standard Marvel Legends look silly with her long legs. That torso was crazy looking, very, very segmented, and just, they tried, and I appreciate them trying. The head sculpt is nice. It's a very attractive head sculpt, but there's so much wrong with this figure. It's just crazy. But an updated version of this A-Force She-Hulk on this body, heck yeah. Alright, then we got the Fin Fang Foom Wave Savage She-Hulk, which is way undersized. She's the same height as just a standard Marvel Legends female figure. So, would love to get that figure reissued with modern technology, sculpts and paint, etc. And then one day I was feeling creative and made my own legal lawyer attire She-Hulk with a Stephanie McMahon figure. I just repainted the hands, chest, and head and hair. And it's fun. It works. Alright, so let's look at this Joker up close. That is a beefy, beefy boy. I really like the sculpt overall. I mean, this was a nice enough figure when it came out. It's a good looking Hulk. The issues, I think, for most people are with the articulation. You've got this random thing that needs to go away. Like, I mean, you could get in there and Dremel that off and make it look a little better if you wanted to, but who wants to do that? Reworking the articulation, I think, would be really good because they can make beefy figures. They could update this, still make it huge and bulky, but just kind of clean it up a little bit. Biggest issue is this right here. Like, Hulk needs to be able to kick more than 45 degrees. He should be able to get up here without having to kick his leg out sideways. So I think that's a lot of people's problem. I already mentioned how they could rework this, trim this in, beef this up a little, and make it more cylindrical. So you can have that reverse crunch here, and then just let this do all your twisting and turning for you. Just like the Venom and a lot of the Spider-Mans and other kind of figures. That would work out really great. Does split fine for a figure this big. Doubly jointed knees really just get you a 90-degree bend. They could probably re-engineer that, rework that a little bit. He will point his ankles down and up, and then of course our toe hinge. So, but this is really weak. A lot of people's figures topple over. You really just have to not rely on that for support at all, and just kind of use this to here as your stability, and just kind of let that flop around. Not a big fan of toe joints. I don't think they're necessary. Don't particularly like them. So I may super glue his flat. I don't know. We'll just see how he stands, see how he displays, see how he photographs, and make a choice from there. Your forward crunch. So this is upright. Let me get his arms out of the way. This is upright, and this is all the crunch you get, which is not terrible. Not much. It's not a whole lot less than what he got already. And then for a leaning back, here we are upright again. Not much lean back at all, really. So they could definitely improve that range. If you look up inside here, you can see that joint in there. It's a double ball peg, basically. Yeah, you can Dremel some of that out and get more range out of him. But again, we shouldn't have to Dremel a figure out to get more range. Like, it should come already from the factory with more range than what they're giving us. You know, it should be more dynamic. This is an ultimate figure. He should have ultimate articulation. And there's no reason. I mean, it's less plastic. It's less plastic. You're not having to pay for more plastic to be there. Put less plastic there and give him more range. Widen that hole up. You could go another, because that's as far back as he can go. So you could go another 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch, both directions, and get better range front to back and side to side. Wouldn't be difficult, really. Arms, T-pose, go out about that far. You can, you know, because this is a harder, thicker rubber than the front, it doesn't do that like that. It's more dense. So to get the arms back, you'd have to twist them around like that, and then kind of turn them, and let that be how you articulate your your going back. So you can still get his arms back almost as far as you could, you know, the other figure. You just have to rotate the biceps around to achieve it. it won't do it from front to back like the other figures did. But you can fake it. And then to do your clap, and just twist them over. Bring them around front.
Hold smash.
So it's versatile, and I like it. And it is an upgrade. It's just not as much of an upgrade as what everybody was hoping for and wanting and expecting. They could have extended to get, like, it is a little gappy. It's not just tremendously gappy. If you look at one of the other figures, it is a little smoother to the body. So what they could have done is just extended this down a little bit, maybe like 1/8 of an inch, and made it a little snugger to the body, so it kind of hugged it, and when you moved it, it did that instead of that. Just make it, you know, bring it in a little, make it squeeze the lower torso, and then that way when you move them around you wouldn't get all that gapping. But I don't know, I hope they go back to the drawing board. I hope they take everybody's feedback and give us a better product. So this is a fun pose. Because you can bring his arms in better, you really can get some more dynamic posing. This is going to be great for action figure photographers. I mean, there are improvements. It's not all bad. It's just not as much as people were wanting, but I'm very happy with it. Love the green. I love the head sculpt. The McInnes head sculpt is fantastic. It's a nice alternative to that little bit more neutral looking 80th anniversary Hulk head we got. And being able to do the Thunderclap is great, you know, so that's good. You know, I think they tried. I think they just hyper-focused on that one thing and kind of let some other stuff slip through that they should have been paying a little better attention to. He has ripped apart the rocket. Come at me, bro. You don't want none of this. You can squeeze figures now because you can bring that chest in really tight, so that's good. You can kind of get him in some cool poses, squishing some folks. Wolverine's not having a good day right now. Forgot to cover the head articulation, neck articulation. He is on a double ball peg. Can look down. Not much up, really. But you can pop that off. Go inside there. You can heat this up, pull the peg out, and then Dremel some of this plastic here underneath here. Just get a Dremel and go round and round and round. Don't cut this silicone or whatever this is over it, PVC. Just make sure you're only cutting that hard plastic underneath it. But you can Dremel that down about, you know, 1/8 inch maybe, and get a ton more range out of that neck socket. All right, final thoughts. Overall, I do love it. I'm glad for the upgrade. It is an upgrade from previous figures. Very happy with this head. If this head hadn't come with it, I'd have been real disappointed. One of my favorite Marvel Legends Hulk heads to date, so very cool. I do like that they painted the pants, but I just wish they had carried it through to the back. As you can see, they didn't finish it across the back. They did like 3/4 of the way around the leg. They just, this one little bit here they didn't do, and this one little bit here. I mean, they literally wrapped around the leg on both sides and just didn't go another inch. Like, why? Just lazy. For a premium figure, for a ultimate figure, you can't do stuff like that. You have to finish it. That people are paying for premium quality, and you're ripping them off if you just get lazy. So overall, on a 10-point scale, a very generous 8. What would have made it better for me? What would have got me to 10? I would have been the upgrades to the articulation that I suggested. Bring the waist in, thicken him up front to back, make that a reverse crunch just like the Venom figure, and get rid of that gap between the upper and lower torso. That would have had me at a 10. And get rid of the this little joint here. It makes the figure unstable because he's very heavy, and toe hinges on a heavy figure, unless they're ratcheted, which this is not, just don't do well. But still glad to have it. I still love it. It's still a great Hulk figure. But for the price, if we're talking about price, if this had just been a standard release for $40, $35, no problems. But to be a maximum series and to not come with these 2 accessories that already exist, that they didn't have to pay for tooling for, and then to not have any upgrades to the articulation except for the Thunderclap, I just think they missed the mark. It just doesn't feel as premium as they kind of led everybody to believe it was going to. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what changes you would make. Let me know if you like it just the way it is. I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching.
Hulk wants you to go to Instagram.